I give the first part of the arc a somewhat important, the second a must-see, and the third slightly important. Unlike most of the show's trilogies, this isn't a large story broken up. It's three distinct stories where each leads into the next. The middle is certainly the high point of it, and likewise is strongly recommended, while the other two are recommended. I appreciate how it begins with a mystery in the first episode and ends with an answer to a long-standing question in the last episode, but the other two are overshadowed by the enormity of the replicator threat being finally dealt with in the middle one. It's an intriguing juxtaposition, one on McKay and his problem, and the other on Shepard and his own. The weakness is in Shepard's, though, as the payoff of Travelers is only in the fact that they're back and they're pitching in. Assembling a coalition of adversaries is a great thing, don't misunderstand, but this is a small payoff. SG-1 showed us the power of bringing factions together. Asgard, Tok'ra, Jaffa. Our heroes is the seed around which resistance can coalesce, fittingly creating Rodney's creation being a symbol of that. I mean, I'm not saying that this was supposed to be a Babylon 5 alliance situation. This was clearly meant to be a singular moment of common cause. I just felt that it could have used a little bit more. But that kind of describes the first episode as well. While raising intriguing issues about self, it didn't really explore them anywhere near as much as they could have. And the departure of Dr. Weir's clone was anticlimactic for her character, further compounded by the presence of the unexplained Dr. Weir from the second part's coda. Now, this isn't to express disappointment with this trio, but this felt like Atlantis had taken the opportunity to raise things and not explore them sufficiently. That the strength of the two parts is upon enjoying our characters in the spectacle, which are both great and probably a big part of what makes the show work. I say the two parts because originally it was considered a two-parter, and this is essentially a coda to it. But anyway, veering into more philosophical eras was off the beaten path for Atlantis. Yet it didn't seem like it headed far enough off the path. The story is fine, but it raised some things I'd like to have seen fleshed out a bit more. Anyway, getting back to the third episode, it does feel smaller than what we had just went through. And I think that perhaps what we needed was to have an episode to serve as a buffer between the two, because the problem is, in essence, last week we saved the galaxy. This week, with the cloning facility and the need to deal with it right now, we're again saving the galaxy. But it's nowhere near what we had just gone through. It lives in the shadow of Be All My Sins Remembered, which is a pity because this episode does provide us with answers about the Wraith and sees the interesting parallel as Taylor, who was a first-time mother-to-be, facing against the mother of countless soldiers and a would-be mother of an army. Everything about the Wraith can be seen in the way that this queen sees Taylor's offspring as something to be extinguished. She never attempts to blackmail Taylor into giving up the control. Note that. I mean, she will regain control if she snuffs out the baby, but she could immediately get control back simply with the threat of that. But she never does. She wants to hurt Taylor for what she has done, and nothing less will satisfy her. So it's appropriate that that is what proves to be her undoing, her unwillingness to try to end this any sooner. As for the Wraith called Todd, this proves to be a real asset for the series, building upon the sense of honor that we'd first seen in him in Common Ground, when he restored Shepard, and then throughout what we have seen here as well. He's reasonable, as one could expect given the circumstances anyway, shaking up the dynamic and giving our heroes someone with the kind of understanding that we never had access to before. We're in the 4th season, after all, and keeping the dynamic shifting is good for the show. Putting all of these things together, I think that the storyline worked. It could have been more, yes, but it was certainly an entertaining trilogy of unified stories.